Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the world of Raceface.Pro. My name is Stephen Koenig. Glad that you guys are joining us for another exciting run. This time, it is actually round 4. Mr. K getting a little bit behind the times there. It's actually round 4 here at Road Atlanta, and it's going to be a wild one. Qualifying's underway at the moment. Troy Dolanczyk leading out the pack with a 1 minute 18 as his best lap time, as he's looking to try and charge his way around the circuit. It's going to be a close one though. I think a lot of drivers are going to have to think out of the box of how they're going to deal with this race. A little bit earlier in practice, it was raining, which made things a little bit more tricky out on the circuit. We're hoping that the rain sticks away this time here at Road Atlanta. So it's going to be an exciting one. A lot of competitors competed in the Petite Le Mans. They were quite happy with it. Got to have quite a bit of experience out on track. So as we see Troy Dolanczyk out on the top of the cards, he is keeping just ahead of Wolfgang Weiss, who's running in second place, 0.17. Then we got Yurion Pissoir challenging and going for that third place. Luke Lucchesi running in fourth, followed by Sean Straden, Mark Heron, Werner Swart, Renard Dresner, along with Florian Kerlin, Jean van Rensburg, Paul Gerber, Cabello Matamai, Alex Moore, Willem Buerta, Greg van Niekerk is running in 15th. Raymond Duggan a little bit further down and in the wall, unfortunately. Luka Logovic, Cameron de Bastos, who's a little bit turned around. Janneman Price and Ryan Ottens is at the bottom of the pack at the current, trying to up his lap time. So, definitely going to be a difficult one. It's going to be an interesting time for a lot of these drivers. We do see Ryan Ottens getting a little bit squirrely on the brakes, and he's now trying to get himself back on track. 118 has been the quickest. Our pros, and looking back at like DRS and such, are sitting at what, 117 on a light tank. Well, if it tells you how close on a full tank these guys can run, it's 118.5 for Troy Dolanczyk. But he has got a problem with Wolfgang Weiss in that Porsche there. Is going to have a difficult time out there. Yurion Pissoir also looking challenged. McLaren quite quick around the circuit. Puts wheel on the dirt right before the line. And unfortunately, he's going to invalidate the lap time. Was definitely on a charge there. Luke Lucchesi running in 4th place as it stands. He's trying to get a lap time in to try and move into that top 3. Is it going to be a close one? He's going to have to really dig deep for this one. Hammering himself around. Werner Swart in 8th place, sitting on a 118.8 as we do see Luke Lucchesi runs out a bit wide, a little bit close to the dirt. Might have just put a wheel off the dirt. No, it looks like he's okay. Time is still going, so he's definitely pushing as high as he can. Werner Swart comes around in the Mustang and puts his time on the board, a 118.7, going ahead of Mark Heron and staying on top of the charts there. Luke Lucchesi still on the push. Jans van Rensburg lying in 11th. Cabello Matamai in the big Mercedes. One of the very few Mercedes we see out on track is having a huge amount of fun. Good to see that he's going to be challenging out for the top runs and that he will be chasing it down for the running order. Going to be a very, very interesting time for our drivers to see what they will be able to do. And that gives you a bit of an idea of what sort of cars are running out there. Alex Moore, the youngster for the likes of Logistical Nightmare Racing, going and having a huge amount of fun. We've got Thomas, who's going to putting in the supports as well, out there in the virtual grandstands. Hello, Thomas. Good to see the signboards out there for NJB. That is going a bit of support for Wolfgang Weiss. NJB has been doing rather well, and I believe also did rather well in the Petite Le Mans, going and improving and eyeing out the top podium spots. I'm not quite sure. I think you were in the top 3 of the NJB team. As far as I'm aware, there was also a good couple of the NJB drivers that all participated. Willem Buerta also on the climb at the moment, but Cameron de Bastos trying to put a little bit more pace underneath him with Janneman Price going and running hot on the heels. Wasn't enough time. 119.8 for Cameron de Bastos, as he was just not able to pick his time up. Janneman Price giving a little bit more. They are running race fuel, as far as I remember, so a little bit lower than the bottom. And good to see our virtual grandstands coming alive. Lots of support for the NJB, so good to see that we've got quite a contingent through. Willem Buerta comes across the line and was lap time better on his last run. His last run, unfortunately, was actually his best, a 19.2 was his best lap time. Camilo Matamaya 19.7. So all the times now starting to come in as we start to run down on the clock. Let's take a quick look at what our championship currently stands at for our pro drivers. This is our pro class for Heat 1 out of round 4. It's going to be a very, very exciting race indeed. So, taking a quick look as qualifying runs out, and let's take a look at our championship points before this race. So, that is our Pro-Am. Let's take a look at our Pro. So, our Pro-Am, Troy Dolanchik, will be at the top of the cards on 295 points. Luke Lucchese running in second place. Wolfgang Weiss of NJB running in third place, followed by Sean Stradums, Ryan Ottens, Yuri Swart, Paul Herber, along with Jens van Rensburg, Alex Moore, Luca Logovic, Noah Hendricks, Ricardo Rivera, Peter Meyer, Jacques Vermillion, Niall Bouillon, Yaz Semai, René Jesner, and Mark Heron running a little bit further down in the championship. And going a little bit further from there, it's Werner Swart, Julian Familiaris, Jelman Press, Willem Buerta, Raymond Duggan, Camilla Matsmai, Jeff Hancock, Ian Sparmers, and rounding out that would be Cameron Bastos, because this is his first race of the season. Taking a look at the grid though, as we will have a rolling start, it's going to be Troy Dolanchik at the top of the pack with Wolfgang Weiss in second place, Yuri Umpi Swart running in third, Luke Lucchese, Paul Herber, Sean Stradum, Werner Swart, Mark Heron, Ryan Ottens, René Jesner, and likes of Florian Keller and Jens van Rensburg will be leading out that pack. And going a little bit further down though, it's Florian Keller, Jens van Rensburg, Cabela Matsmai, Alex Moore, Willem Buerta, Greg van Niekerk, Raymond Duggan, Luca Logovic, Cameron de Bastos, and Jelman Press rounding out the field as it stands. This is our pros that are out on track looking to make their way through, and with Heat 1 it's going to be an exciting time, but all eyes are going to be out towards the front here as Troy Dolanchik, our championship leader, will be taking on Wolfgang Weiss running third place in the championship, now starting second with a bit of a hole shot into turn 1 if he can get the jump out of the final corners as our vehicles get ready to go. And it's gonna start rolling. Interesting choice for the season, as we do see quite a lot of Ferraris have been at the top of the charts. So the Porsches have been rather dominant. Oddly enough, McLaren, Yuri Umpi Swart, the only McLaren in the field, much like we've got Luca Logovic and Raymond Duggan, the only two Chevs in the field, and Werner Swart going and deciding to take the Mustang, which has proven itself to be rather epic in terms of racing. Some can get it right, some can't, but here around Road Atlanta it does have the legs down the main straight. Yuri Umpi Swart in the McLaren will have the advantage. The McLaren very dominant around the circuit and also not struggling with the same BOP as it once had. So it's going to be an interesting time for them. Luke Lucchese running in fourth place, Paul Herber, Sean Stradum will be running a little bit further down in the Audi for the Logistical Nightmare Racing team. They've also been on a hard push. Unfortunately, they missed Petit Life, if I remember correctly. The Alta Carbon, Werner Swart in the Mustang, going to be having a bit of fun with Mark Heron, who's also been on a great charge for the Asymmetric Racing team. Unfortunately, a little bit further down than planned. In 8th place, René Jesner will be chasing him down. And Ryan Ottens, keep an eye on this Ferrari, looking to really put some legs on the field. Jesner for NJB Performance will be looking to try and help fellow teammate out towards the front. Ron Keller and John Van Rensburg coming a little bit further down, sporting the new livery. Lined up against Prince KB himself. Likes of Cabello. That's a line. Yes. Not only a fantastic in terms of South African artist for singing and being out there, but good to see that drivers are having a bit of fun. Cabello Matsumai also showing what he can do out on track. So, a couple of people in the grandstands, Nalbul Yun, who's usually our driver that's out on the track, saying unfortunately missing this one, having a nightmare of a week, but going and showing in a bit of support. That's always fantastic. See lots of NJB flags out in the virtual grandstands, which is fantastic to see, because usually it's a run for the racing snails. Well, Troy Dolanchik going to be making their way through, backing the field up. It's going to be a close one, because they're going to come over the crest through the long right-hander. Heat 1 of our GT3's Pro Division, looking to go racing, and this is round 4. Sun's starting to set, lights on, and it's going to be guns ablaze as Troy Dolanchik gets the jump. Yurion Biswat immediately trying to put himself up on the inside. Can't get the pass done and gets chased down. Wolfgang Weiss around the outside, really giving it horns. Now we'll have the advantage into the hairpin, but he's got a bit of a problem as he's pushed out to the outside, and that it allows Luke Lucchesi to get through. He's not going to be bullied out of that position, though. Loses out to Yurion Biswat, but did not allow Luke Lucchesi to come in. And now that's backed up. Sean Stratham now coming into the fold. He's getting chased down by Paul Herber. Team Tryhard going onto the back of him. And oh no, Wolfgang Weiss off the track. Wolfgang Weiss is off the circuit. And unfortunately, that seems to be that. Let's quickly try and take a look what happened to Wolfgang Weiss. And this is a little bit of a slow motion replay for us to get an idea of what happened to him. All going fine. And then all of a sudden, oh, just a rear snapped out and into the wall he goes. And that is a fair amount of damage on the car for Wolfgang Weiss. After a phenomenal start and really having a hard time out there, absolutely into the wall, now needing a bit of work. Troy Dolanchik trying to keep ahead and now has got Yurion Biswat chasing him down. Third place, Luke Lucchesi has got Sean Strand, Paul Herbert trying to hang on the back of him, but now Mark Heron coming into the fray, closing up that gap and doing everything he can. Werner Swart dealing with Ryan Ottens a little bit further back. Oh, we do have another one into the wall. That is Willem Buerta. Willem Buerta into the wall, put a wheel on the dirt, and unfortunately, he goes off into the wall, taking a fair amount of damage to the nose of the car. He's going to have to try and pull it back. It does allow Wolfgang Weiss to come back. He's going to be dealing with a little bit of damage on the car, but he's got Raymond Duggan ahead of him. Jonathan Price going and just making his run. Cameron de Bastos trying to get a little bit of a climb, as we do see Thorn Killer dealing with Cabela Matsamai, who's all over the back of Luka Logovic. Luka now going defensive, inside line, going to go hard on the brakes. Can he make it stick though? Cabela Matsamai around the outside is going to try and close the door on him. Can't really get it done, and just manages to get ahead of Luka Logovic, breaking that a little bit early. Not as comfortable on the brakes as Cabela Matsamai. So now he is on the charge for René Dresser, and this is just straight line into the toe, pulling himself along, goes side by side. Dresser's going to have the inside line, heading into the left-hander, bottom of the hill. He's going to have to brake really hard to try and get that Ferrari to slow down. Goes to the middle of the track, tries to open up a corner a bit more. But Cabela Matsamai up another position. Absolutely great stuff. He's on that little bit of a charge, and they'll have to make their way through. So it's off to an exciting start of the race, and our drivers are pushing to get that little bit further. Paul Herber onto the back of Sean Stratham, closing up the gap into turn 1, loses out a little bit. Now needs to try and figure out where he's going to go here, as Mark Heron all over the back of him, and Mark is going to really push as hard as he can to make it work. And Mark is absolutely closing up as hard as he can to try and get onto the back of Paul Herber. He's going to chase him down, light years through, and this is going to be that final charge from Braveheart for Mark Heron if he wants to try and get that position away from Paul Herber. Looking rather comfortable, keeps peering to the inside line of Sean Stratham, but just can't get the drive on the Audi. It's having a little bit more luck, as we do see Jonathan Price is diving into the pits. So Jonathan Price going and landing up into the pits. So we have he's not out. He's still there, but a little bit further down. 13 seconds, so he was closing, but unfortunately that all changed. Back up towards our sharp end of the field though. Further onto the back of Sean Stratham, looking for that inside line. Coming down the hill is going to be absolutely blazing. The Audi looking all together compared to the Porsche, but it's going to be a hard charge as they snake their way through. Werner Swart slowly closing up the gap and bringing up Ryan Ottens as well. Ryan's going to keep up that pressure, but out towards the front, miles ahead, is Troy Dolanchik as Yurion Biswat chases him down. They both get past That looks to be Willem Buerta just trying to rejoin the circuit. But Jurien Pissoir over the curbs, really sending it onto the back of Troy Dolenchik, trying to close up that gap as quick as possible. Luke Lucchesi in a little bit of no man's land, just keeping an eye out. Sean Stratham running in 4th, 5th place, Paul Herbert, along with Mark Herod, Werner Swart, Ryan Ottens onto the back of him. Ryan Ottens for the likes of A1 Esports is doing a great job to try and bring that Ferrari around, but just can't get it to bite as Van Rensburg closing up under braking just to get it done. Alex Moore now looking into his mirrors and seeing Cabello Matsamai up on the climb. Now, Alex Moore gained 4 positions on the start. Cabello Matsamai has gained 2 so far. René Dresner down in 12th, 13th. Luka Logovic getting chased down by Florian Keller. And Florian trying to go around the outside, going to go around the inside. Late on the brakes, can he get the nose of the Merc in? Second guesses it. Going to try and get the drive down into second, up into third gear. Really puts the power down just to try and bring it over the top. It's going to get a little bit lighter than loose. Follow your way through, keep the pressure on the nose, and really swing it in. Runs out a little bit wide. Cameron de Bastos keeping close in the toe. Luka Logovic trying to go late on the brakes. Can he get it done into turn 1? Now that he's been put on the outside, loses out the drive. Florian Keller gets it absolutely locked in. And Luka Logovic, unfortunately, down 1 position. And here comes Cameron de Bastos onto the back, trying to get him in the hairpin. Couldn't quite get it all sorted. And that is allowing a charging Wolfgang Weiss, who has got the bit between his teeth at the moment, to put the pressure on, to do everything he can to stand up for the fight. As we do see Cameron Bastos losing out the drive to the likes of Wolfgang Weiss. Cameron's going to just back it off, allow him to go. Luka Logovic will now realize he's in a little bit of a problem as he's getting backed up by Florian Keller. He looked to the inside, couldn't get it done, and here comes Wolfgang Weiss on the pressure. Raymond Duggan onto the back of Cameron de Bastos. Charging back up to the sharp end of the field, it is Jurien Pissoir going late on the anchors, trying to bring it back. He's right onto the tail of the likes of Troy Dolenchik. They've made their way past the likes of Willem Buerta and Jelleman Price. Now they're just going to focus up that charge, and Jurien Pissoir really looking to close up the gap to Troy Dolenchik. Looks for the inside line, couldn't quite get it all hooked in as yet. Gonna try maybe run out a little bit on the inside as Troy Dolenchik starting to show a little bit of strain on the car, jumping over the curb, gets quite a bit of a height. Wolfgang Weiss into the pits now, trying to serve his pit stop. Everyone has to do 1 pit stop, change their tires. They don't have to refuel, but they do have to change their tires. And the question is, when are they going to be doing that as they make their way through? A bit of a challenge for position. Alex Moore and Cabello Matsamai, as Cabello's closed up the gap quite rapidly to the back of Alex Moore. But Rensburg getting a little bit of a loss to the likes of Werner Swart, and it looks like Ryan Ottens now trying to defend and get round. So definitely some hard fights all the way through the field from Werner Swart, Van Rensburg, Alex Moore, Cabello Matsamai, and René Dresner now getting onto the back of the 2 of them as well. So Dresner's going to try and push his way through the field and really see where he can stamp up that charge. As Jelleman Price lining out of the way for the other drivers as they come charging their way through, not wanting to lose out time down the straight. So just a slight lift to let them go, but it's not enough to really make an impact here. As we see Troy Dolenchik and Jurien Pissoir still fighting it out. Cabello Matsamai, unfortunately, off the circuit, so he's fallen off, and that has lost out all that momentum and down the order. So this is going to be a proper run. The Lamborghini of Troy Dolenchik really running on rails at the moment and on the knife's edge, because Jurien Pissoir is constantly nipping at the heels. Luke Lucchesi losing out that little bit of drive, will be considering his options at this point. Sean Stratham dealing with the likes of Paul Herber, still keeping that Audi ahead of the Porsche of Paul Herber, the Team Tryhard, getting the drive out of the Snake, and now just not having that straight line speed against the Audi. Maybe a little bit too much wing, a little bit too much drag is not helping him through the quicker parts of the track where it's absolutely flat out, as he does close up to the back of Sean Stratham, but just can't get the hammer down hard enough to really become into a full fight. So now Sean Stratham is going to have to look for a defense. Middle of the track though is going to help him out here. As Paul Herber goes and tucks in behind that rear wing, he's going to have to look maybe to try and bait him to the inside line. Not comfortable to do so, not going to go deep onto the inside line, going to rather wait it out and try and get the drive. Unfortunately, over the top of the hill, the Porsche just getting a little bit lighter on that front end. He's not able to pull it in. So that is a bit of a change for him to have to work out what's going to be the options here. So Paul Gerber hoping that he can stay on the money. Has got Mark Heron, who's constantly there, looming in the wings. For one mistake from these two, they're fighting out currently for 4th and 5th. And they're going to have a very big problem as Mark Heron actually takes a look at his mirror and sees Ryan Otten's now starting to close up that little bit of a gap and become a bit more of a threat as well. So Paul Gerber runs out a little bit wide, maybe a little too wide there, has now allowed Mark Heron to get into the toe. That Ferrari trying to straight line at the moment, really going for deep sends, and Ryan Otten's running a little bit further back. He's going to have to keep a very close eye on this as he tries to really close up under braking. Werner Swart starting to struggle to get the front end of that Ford Mustang GT3 into the corners. That's allowing Van Rensburg to get onto the back of him. So Werner Swart also having to keep it well in mind of the problem at hand. Ryan Otten's getting a little bit more straight line speed. He is going to be closing up to the back of Mark Heron, but he just needs to try and get the drive out of the corner. 2nd gear, 3rd gear, floor it over the curb, maybe a little bit too much on the inside line there. We'll get a warning, and also a bit of dirt on the tire as well as they come screaming through. Now Ryan Otten's a lot closer. Paul Gerber going to be a lot closer as they make their way up towards the hairpin. So Paul Gerber may have an opportunity here to go on the attack, and Mark Heron's going to have to go on the defense. So both of these drivers really having to give it everything they got, but it does look like a live for another day. Troy Dolchik just battling to keep the car in check. Now the tire's starting to drop off a little bit on the Lamborghini. That is allowing Jurien Pissoir to get into the attack and start becoming a little bit more of a problem and stay within the fight. So don't count them out as yet, as Jurien Pissoir just needs to keep applying that pressure until the steering gets a little bit too light for the running. Werner Swart dealing with Van Rensburg, that's now closed up on him. Ryan Otten's getting into the toe of Mark Heron. Now this is a 4-car toe that's going to help out, and it doesn't matter where you're going to move. If all 4 cars have to, if you go 2 by 2 and you lie left and right in the circuit, it means even your passes are going to be a little bit difficult. Ryan Otten's is going to try and square it up on the inside. He's going to go late on the anchors. Can he get it done? Just launches by. Mark Heron trying to go for the undercut, battling to get the nose to swing in. That unfortunate little bit of dirty air just lifts up the nose. We'll look to go for the pits though, interesting enough. So stared at the pits, possibility there, second guessed it, rather brought it back, decided, okay, let's rather keep on the nose here, let's try and figure out where we're going to go and how this race is going to turn out. So definitely the ideas of wanting to get into the box are starting to sit there for a lot of our drivers. When is it going to be the next option? So Ryan Otten's going to have to keep onto the back of Paul Gerber. As you can see, that sunset starting to get into the eyes of the drivers as they come launching their way through, really battling to keep it all together as they're powering up their time, doing everything they can to stay in for the fight. Paul Gerber, as you can see, that sunset desperately going and getting through the front windscreen and makes it right-handed so tricky to line up. Jurien Pissoir chasing down. Now watch how late he actually gets onto the brakes here to just try and get ahead of Troy Dolchik, who actually moves to the center of the circuit, late onto the brakes, and then just feeds on the power, 2nd to 3rd gear as they come over the crest into 4th, swing the car around, hanging in it in 5th, low 5th, into high, and into 6th gear. Now this is a 4th gear turn, so they're going to go down the gears, 4th gear right-hander, bring the car up, keep the throttle on. Now the hairpin, some drivers prefer 2nd gear, others prefer 3rd, as we do see Jurien Pissoir stabilizing the car in 3rd gear. He's able to keep it going, so definitely a bit of track knowledge can benefit on what you need to do. 2nd gear will get those tires to spin up quite quickly, but it can also land you up a bit of a problem. So if you're going for late brakes, engine braking does save you on the run. Ryan Otten's closing up the gap to the likes of Paul Gerber, who's all over the show. Very dirty exit. Paul Gerber knows that he got a rough one there. Has to go defensive, inside line. Ryan Otten's going to try around the outside, wing mirror to wing mirror, and it does look like Ryan Otten's losing out that little bit of drive, but it may be over for Paul Gerber, who went out a bit wide. That was all that was needed for Ryan Otten's to move up that position and now chase down Sean Stratham. Alex Moore into the pits and trying to get his pit stop done and dusted. So quite a few drivers getting those sorted out getting into the pits and heading out onto the track. So let's take a look at who's gone into the pits and when they got it. So Mark Heron's into the pits, Wolfgang Weiss, Alex Moore, Luka Logovic, Jan Price, and Willem Buerta all gone into the pits. Our top 13 though, as we do see the likes of Sean Schrader and Paul Herber dive into the pits, going and getting that sorted out. So definitely a bit of a rough run there. Cabello Matamai going and looking onto the inside as they really fight it out. Cabello hoping they get for the charge, looks for the inside line, late on the anchors, can he get it done? No, just couldn't, as Cameron Bastos keeps that very defensive line to hold back Cabello Matamai, who is only just winding it up, considering he's been on that major charge at the start of the race. Now Cameron Bastos is going to be radioing into his teammate Jan Price, who's going to be a blue flag car, and saying, listen buddy, you got to get out of the way quite quickly here, because if I come charging up, there is going to be a Mercedes and there's going to be the likes of Willem Buerta chasing me down. And you can see Cabello Matamai around the outside as Cameron tries to lock in that inside. We've seen this before. Will Cameron run out a little bit wide? Tries to get the nose to point in, and there's Cabello Matamai. Gets the drive on the inside. Absolutely keeps it pinned. And Cameron Bastos now got a bit of a problem. Willem Buerta actually slacking off the throttle a little bit. Now we'll give a little bit of a bump draft just to try and egg him on a bit, because he wants to try and make up a bit of time here. So Cabello Matamai gets that pass done and dusted as they fight their way through. Luke Lucchesi, on the other hand, sitting in a bit of no man's land, 4 seconds away from the leaders, is going to be really chomping at the bit to try and claw back through the order. Mark Heron onto the back of Paul Herber, came out of the pits, and Sean Schrader just ahead of them. So these 3 cars, Sean Schrader and Paul Herber, all have done their pit stop, got it done and dusted, and now continue to go. Dresner, Cabello Matamai, and Cameron Bastos all pulling into the pits. Mark Heron trying to go for a late lunge into the bottom, but just couldn't get it all sorted out. Over the crest of the hill, and now through the long right-hander, maintain the gears, pick the revs up, nice and gently, absolutely keep it pinned on the out. And now it is just a charge down to turn 1. Who's going to be able to go late on the brakes here as Mark Heron really closes up in that 296 onto the back of the 992 GT3. As we can see Paul Herber still battling it out. Very, very hard-working car to deal with, where Mark Heron in the Ferrari, a very forgiving vehicle that doesn't worry about too much, but does pick up a bit of understeer towards the later part of the race. And now that is a little bit of a dirty exit once again for Paul Herber, losing out the time, and that's going to allow Mark Heron to have a good go at him. Tries to go around the outside. Little bit of side-on contact there, not too much. As we do see Paul Herber, as he learned from last time, yes, he actually keeps a very, very close exit. He gets it sorted out. Yuri Piswat, Luke Lucchesi, and Ryan Ottens into the pits. And that leaves the likes of Troy Dolenchik and the likes of Van Rensburg in a little bit of no man's land. Raymond Duggan as well, staying out that little bit longer. So these 3, our top 3, Troy Dolenchik, Van Rensburg, and Duggan, deciding to go that little bit longer and really figure out where they can go. Gabriel Santos out there in the grandstands, going and cheering on, really enjoying the sights and sounds. Well, I have to agree with that. It is turning into a bit of a wild ride for all our drivers. Yuri Piswat running now first of everyone that has done their pit stops. Now, this is going to be an interesting one for everyone, because I'm going to show you how long a pit stop actually takes. Yuri Piswat, 21.9 seconds, so roughly 22 seconds is that pit stop time. Troy Dolenchik and Van Rensburg have to get well enough ahead with 22 seconds if they want to be safe for the amount of time in the pits. That is going to be the one to keep an eye out for. But we cannot also forget that there is there's an incident limit that can cause a drive-through, and off-tracks is something to be well aware of. Take a look at our track limits. Troy Dolenchik, 13. Van Rensburg pulls into the pits. He's on 12. Raymond Duggan on 10. Yuri Piswat scoring 14 at the moment. Now, if you do get to about 15, you will need to do a drive-through penalty, which Cameron Bastos is at that point. So he's going to be a little bit frustrated on that running, being well aware that he's going to have to serve a drive-through penalty coming up very, very shortly. So, there is our running order as it stands, and who's going to be able to get that little bit more time on one another as Troy Dolanchik leads out the pack. Raymond Duggan in second place. Everyone else has done their pit stop, and this is where it's going to start playing out. Of Troy Dolanchik into the pit, so Raymond Duggan is going to have an option here because we're now getting closer and closer to the end. They have to do about 25 laps to get the race done, or 15 minutes of the race. Now there's that double whammy there. Either the timer runs out or the laps run out. You got to choose. Raymond Duggan in second place is narrowly just keeping ahead, but coming down that very long straight is Yuri Swat. Is he close enough to make the impact to Troy Dolanchik? It's going to be a close one, though, as Troy Dolanchik still up on the jacks, getting those tires sorted out. Here comes Yuri Swat. Is it going to be enough? As we still see Troy Dolanchik up on the jacks, he's still waiting to go out. He's still sitting. He's down on the jacks. He's going to start rolling. Here comes Yuri Swat. He's up into second, and Troy Dolanchik, trying to get some drive out of the pits, is going to have a screaming Yuri Swat onto the back of him. Those tires are going to be ice cold. And now Yuri Swat, who's just missed out by 1 second, needs to stay on the attack. He needs to force Troy Dolanchik to battle those cold tires. He's not getting the grip. He's taking a lot of the dirt, bouncing around there, doing everything he can to try and keep it up at the moment. Sean Stratham is getting ahead of Ryan Ottens, who's constantly pressurizing him. Ryan getting a little bit squirrely on the braking, trying to get that Ferrari a little bit more pointy and go immediately back onto the attack. This is Heat 1, though. We've got 2 heats this evening that the drivers are going to have to contend with. So if you don't get it right in Heat 1, you're going to have to get it right in Heat 2. As we do see Yuri Swat 0.5 of a second onto the back of Troy Dolanchik. Now, last week, Troy Dolanchik had to work hard to keep his position in the IndyCar, and we've seen him battle it out in the GT3s. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but plenty this season. He has been having to fight it out with Yuri Swat, and Yuri is going to once again lay on the pressure, stay within the fight. So it's Troy Dolanchik, Yuri Swat, Luke Lucchese, who is down 5 seconds as Troy Dolanchik trying to get those tires to wake up. It takes roughly about 1.5 laps to get it up to temperature here, and it is not looking any easier for our drivers as Yuri Swat immediately battling it out through the snake. Can't quite get that McLaren to work as well as the Lamborghini, but immediately coming out of the corner, he's able to apply that power. The McLaren has got plenty of it, and the BOP has been in favor of the brand new McLaren. He just needs to try and keep the pressure onto the back of Troy Dolanchik, who is not having an easy time at the tabletop. Gonna have to really figure out what he needs to do here. Ryan Otten's getting ahead of Sean Stratham. Now Sean Stratham having to deal with Mike Heron and go on the defense with Mike Heron immediately goes onto the attack onto the back of Ryan Otten. So now we've got a battle 4th, 5th, and 6th place, and 1st and 2nd are in a fight with time running out. Every single one of these drivers are going to have to figure out what they need to do to gain the position. What is the chase? What is needed to go? How late are you willing to challenge your brakes at this point to make sure you score that position? How much are you willing to push the limits for Heat 1? That's going to be all about keeping it under wraps at the moment, as we do see Ryan Ottens losing a bit of drive. Sean Stratham onto the back of him. Mark Heron, Wolfgang Weiss, who I've got to say, major props to him. At the start of the race, went into the wall, was first into the pits to get his car sorted out, comes out and he wasn't first into the pits, so it was Willem Buerta and Janneman Precer were first into the pits. He got into the pits at lap 5, is now having to fight it out. He's currently lying in 7th position, so if he can take at least Sean Stratham lying in 5th, he will start first for Heat 2. So his target is to get past these two as quick as possible, but he's not having an easy time because the slipstream that's coming from these two is absolutely monstrous at this point. So Sean Stratham having to be very careful. Troy Dolanchik, though, getting very worried with Yuri Swat constantly challenging him, breaking down that gap. 0.5 of a second and below is where the target attack has been for Yuri Swart. He's going to have to dial it up, and I know that Mr. Umpi Senior is going to be cheering on, shouting to the likes of Yuri, saying, come on, dig deep, go for it. As we do see Dolanchik doing the fastest lap time of the race at 18:06, but it's not much quicker than Yuri Swart with an 18:08. So, Yuri Swart just needs to take 0.2 of a second out of him, and he has that opportunity now to get in with the fight. Wolfgang Weiss also close with the fight, a lot closer to Mark Heron, who's running in 6th place. He's going to be watching his mirrors, and all the way from Scotland is going to have to deal with the NJB performance of Wolfgang Weiss, going and really applying that pressure, and will stay within the charge, hoping they can get onto the back of him. Sean Stratham, the South African, having to watch his mirrors at the moment, battling it out here at Road Atlanta. As we see Yuri Swart once again going for a late lunge. Time running out, under 5 minutes to go, so it's about 4 minutes 30 seconds of this race, and Troy Dolanchik not having an easy time out there, having to work a little bit harder, seeing that he's got a car ahead of him. That it looks like it's going to be Jan Price that will be seeing these two, and can be a very big influence for the lead. If he just holds up Troy Dolanchik and Yuri Swart goes and boxes him, done. If Yuri Swart gets caught up as Troy Dolanchik gets past on a straight and just can't get past the corner, that is his race run. So now it is all onto this. How are they going to play against the leaders charging up at a rate of knots and hoping to just absolutely slam on by Troy Dolanchik a little bit later on the brakes, going and bleeding it off very early to just try and get that car to rotate a bit more, hoping that on the power it's going to work for him. Wolfgang Weiss onto the back of Mark Heron as they make their way through. So, let's get back up towards the lead, 0.5 of a second. Now it's starting to come down. You can see the power of that McLaren coming into effect. Low drag onto the back of the Lamborghini. Gonna have to go late on the anchors to try and bring it back. Over the hill they go, and it looks like they're only gonna catch Jan Price when it gets into turn 1. Willem Buerta getting the pass on Luka Logovic, who's actually gone into the pits. So that Chev not going to be a happy camper. So not going to catch Jan Price through turn 1, but maybe onto the back straight. Maybe a bit of an advantage there. But these two are not giving each other any breathing room to go and allow for an easy overtake. So it's going to be having to work it out very, very quickly. Yuri Swart gauging his chance to get around the likes of Troy Dolanchik. Wolfgang Weiss onto the back of Mark Heron as well, who's trying to charge his way through, ramping over the curbs as Sean Stratham's just ahead of him. It is a fight up and down through the field. Troy Dolanchik, Yuri Swart, Luke Lucchese, Ryan Arton, Sean Stratham, Mark Heron, Wolfgang Weiss, Jean Janssen van Rensburg, Werner Swart, Alex Moore, Florian Keller, Renee Dresser, Cabello Matsmeyer, Paul Gerber, Raymond Duggan, Cameron Bastos, Willem Buerta, Jan Price, Luka Logovic, and unfortunately Greg van Niekerk not able to get it out onto the track, as we do see Dolanchik running to the inside line. Not close enough though, as it looks like Jan Price is going to hold his line. Immediately Dolanchik gets right into the back of him. This is going to be a tough time for Dolanchik as he comes over the hill. Yuri Swart needs to try and figure out how he can close up this gap as fast as possible. Dolanchik, hoping that he can try and get him onto turn 1, is going to have a happy time there, and so is Yuri Swart. So it didn't look like that it was going to be Jan Price to play a bit of a fiddle on this one. Troy Dolanchik putting in the fastest lap time of the race yet again with an 18:05.7, and that's absolutely a bang-on job for him. Mark Heron onto the back of Wolfgang Weiss as Wolfgang managing to gain a position. Now is going to be fighting it out. Mark Heron hoping he can line it up on the inside. Looks for going the undercut into the hairpin. Can't quite get it done. Runs out a little bit wide for Wolfgang Weiss, and now it's down the sweep. Wolfgang managing to move up one position, but now it is into the final minutes. It's the final minutes of this race, and it's all or nothing. Will Dolanchik lift off the throttle to try and let the timer run out. It's going to be a minute though. I don't think so. I think it's going to be one more lap. But Urium Swart, a lot further back than what he once was a bit more content this lap compared to last. So he's going to have to be a little bit more aggressive, knowing that there will be one lap to go at it as our leaders start their final lap on the way through. Cross the line, final lap for the likes of Urium Swart to go for the top spot. Willem Buerta pulling into the pits. And unfortunately, it looks like he's run into a bit of a problem. So Troy Dolenchik hoping that he can stay in for the fight here against Urium Swart, who's closed up now. 0.5 of a second. Is it going to be enough? Wolfgang Weiss also closed up onto the back of Sean Straden. 0.7 of a second. 0.5. So he is really desperately trying to make up that little bit of time. Florian Killer trying to close up the gap to Alex Moore, the NJB, now onto the back of the Logistical Nightmare Racing as they make their way through. Alex Moore, the new member to the team, hoping that he can stay in for the shout for Heat 1. On the way through, it is Troy Dolenchik keeping ahead of Urium Swart. Yuri doesn't look close enough to go for the attack just as yet. He's trying, he's chasing, he's finding that slipstream. Troy Dolenchik trying to snap it as quick as possible. 2 corners to go of major overtaking. Urium Swart, big send on the inside. Couldn't get it done and dusted. Close enough through the final corner. Has he got the drive though? Dolenchik flashing his lights in celebration. And if he lifts, this may be it. He goes and moves over, just keeping ahead of Urium Swart. Luke Lucchese comes across the line. 3rd place, Ryan Ottens will take 4th place as he comes over the hill. Sean Stratham keeping just ahead of Wolfgang Weiss. Will be happy with that 5th place. Wolfgang Weiss in 6th place. What a climb back for him. Mark Heron just ahead of Van Rensburg as they come bolting to the line. 0.1 of a second. Werner Swart, Alex Moore, and Florian Killer a little bit back. René Dresner doing a fantastic job. Comes across the line ahead of Cabello Matsumai. Tried following that slipstream till the end. Paul Herber, Raymond Duggan, Cameron Bastos, Jelmer Price, Luka Logovic, Willem Buerta rounding out our pack. Wow, oh wow. That was Heat 1, ladies and gentlemen. And I've got to say, I'm plenty out of breath for that because it was manic. Absolutely manic. And what better result can we get? So let's take a look at our results and see what it looks like. Troy Dolenchik getting the win. Urium Swart, followed by Luke Lucchese, Ryan Otten, Sean Stratham, Wolfgang Weiss, Mark Heron, Jean-Jans van Rensburg, Werner Swart, Alex Moore, Florian Killer, René Dresner, Cabello Matsumai, Paul Herber, Raymond Duggan, Cameron Bastos, Jelmer Price, Luka Logovic running in 18th. Running a little bit further down on our results there, it is Willem Buerta and Greg van Niekerk rounding out our pack. Unfortunately, Greg van Niekerk not able to get it to the line or for start of the race. So, as we go into a little bit of a warm-up period at the moment, Willem Buerta will be making his way out onto the track. Great racing. This is our pro division of the Raceface.Pro Road Atlanta, round 4 of our GT3 Pro Division iRacing Sprint Series. Absolutely incredible running for it. But we do have a Heat 2 coming up, ladies and gentlemen, so don't go anywhere. And while we got this a little bit of time to talk about, we got some exciting news coming your way, you iRacing fans. Well, you've been calling for it, you've been shouting for it, and we heard you here at Raceface.Pro. There is plans in December. I think I was saying 7th of December, we're going to be going racing in an endurance race right here at Raceface.Pro. So make sure you head out to some grid and go and keep an eye out on our socials as well, as we do have an endurance coming up and it is going to be a great one. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on all the fixtures to have a bit of fun. And we will have all our cars going and having a huge blast, both Pro and Pro-Am out on track. Coming up this week as well, we do have ACC tomorrow night, 8:10. We're going to be starting with our GT3 Sprint Series, sponsored by PokerBet. So our Raceface PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series on a set of course competizione, 45 minutes of racing, and on Thursday will be an hour and 20 minutes worth racing of a set of course competizione for the Raceface.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship. Last season was 250,000 Rand given away by PokerBet. Honestly, exciting stuff. And I can tell you that there is a bit of works to try and also get that to the world of iRacing. The only way we're going to get that right is by you, the spectators, the drivers, the teams, to go out on social media, follow all the posts, share it all, and get these videos out there to the world. Get them seeing the amazing action, and also come and join in the fun. More drivers, the better. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Spots still open for you to come in and have a great blast. Take a look at our virtual grandstands. Absolutely fantastic out there. Gabriel Dos Santos quite happy with it. Yuri Swart going and smiling ear to ear, and that is Yuri Swart Senior going and giving a bit of a big smile there. Honestly, met the gentleman, and he's the happiest camper whenever sees his son out racing, going in, having a lot of fun. Noah Hendricks, also one of our pro drivers. Keep an eye out for Noah Hendricks out on track. Knows how to keep a very close competitive action. Not out on track for our pros tonight, but is still putting in the support, which is always great to see. A lot of our drivers going and showing support for everyone out there. Gentleman Price comes across the line, 19 as he comes across the line. Willem Buerta putting his hat into the ring. Cameron Bastos also improving his lap time. So lots of little tinker work going on now. Now everyone's looking back at the plans, looking at what's happened in that race, what needs to be adjusted to ensure that they stay in with a fight. And this is where the questions start coming in. What do you need to do to get that little bit of momentum? What was the pit stop to you? Was pitting early the problem, pitting later the earlier problem? How are they going to be able to make their way through the order? What was your car doing? Do you need to put a little less drag on the rear wing and the front nose? Try and change the aero balance on the car. Is it going to be focusing on getting more aero onto the car to work your way through the snake? Did you feel it getting loose? How was the tire wear? All these factors start working back as they prepare themselves for Heat 2. One thing that is going to happen in Heat 2, we're going to take our top 5 that were finished. So the likes of Troy Dolanchik will be starting from 5th position at the start of Heat 2. And 4th place is going to be Yuri Umpiswat. Once again, these two are going to line themselves up and get ready to go. But they're going to have to fight through the pack. Luke Lucchese, unfortunately, 3rd place. He's going to start in 3rd place. He's going to sit right in the middle of the fight yet again. Not ideal situation, but Luke Lucchese, head of the Masters, and definitely one thing to go and take a look out. Get in touch with Luke Lucchese. They've got the Masters series that runs. But when we say Masters, it also has a junior division. So if you're a youngster that wants to go have a bit of fun, go and chat to Luke Lucchese. So, time for our feature race. Sean Stradham, Ryan Ottens, Luke Lucchese, Yuri Swart, Troy Dolanchik will be our grid. So Sean Stradham's got everything to prove right now. Ryan Ottens, who made a monstrous climb, will be running in 2nd place. So keep an eye out on the Alpha 1 Esports, followed by Luke Lucchese, Yuri Swart, Troy Dolanchik in 5th. Wolfgang Weiss in 6th place will have a shot once again to get ahead of Troy Dolanchik, and I'm sure he remembers how Heat 1 went, so he's going to be nipping at the heels there. Mark Heron, Jean Jans van Rensburg in 8th, 9th is Werner Swart, Alex Moore, Florian Keller, and Renaud Dresner in 12th position. Going a little bit further down, Kabila Matsamai, Paul Herber, Raymond Duggan going to be running in 15th. Cameron Bastos, Jelleman Price, Luka Lagovic, Willem Buerta, and Greg van Niekerk rounding out the pack. As cars make their way around, it's going to be a great bit of time. Interesting enough about the Alpha 1 Esports, if I remember correctly, Ryan Ottens did have a partner in crime that was racing in last season's races. Unfortunately, not in this season. The Alpha Esports was also missing Simon Pele. Sold his sim racing gear. So good to see the team still there in a form, but not as strong as it used to be for now. I do think it's going to improve. Sean Stradham from Logistical Nightmare Racing, hoping to stand at the top of the pack. You can already see a very interesting situation starting to build. As Luke Lucchesi keeping an even pace, but Troy Dolanchik just going and bucking onto the side of the likes of Yuri Umpi-Swart. Trying to say, hey, listen, I'm here. You're going to have to race me. We're not going to make it easy out here. And I know these two are in the Discord together, but they do get rather quiet. Mark Heron's also a bit of an underdog here, along with Wolfgang Weiss. Now, don't count him out. Second place was in his qualifying first race. Not ideal. Got turned around and landed up with a bit of a problem. This time he's going to have an option to go on the charge. Van Rensburg also been on a positive charge. Not going to be a first and second contender with his lap times, but definitely has a shout for third place. Werner Swartz in the Mustang. Can never count out the Mustang. Werner Swartz has proven that that car is brutal when it wants to get the climb. He's going to line up with Alex Moore, Florian Keller, and Cabela Matsmeyer. Also was on a great charge until the rear kicked out for him. And Dresner's going to have to go a little bit defensive on that one. Raymond Duggan a little bit further back for Rad Racing, going and make his way through. And now it's going to go a little bit down. Jonathan Pace, Paul Herber going to be having a bit of fun with one another. Willem Buerta, Cameron Bastos, and Luka Lodovic running out of the pack as they make their way through down the hill. It's now going to be getting themselves ready to get going. Safety car heading off. Lights starting to come ablaze, getting a bit darker, and Sean Stratham just trying to go that little bit quicker, accelerating down, and just bolts it. Sean Stratham forgets that there is no waiting for it. He just absolutely gunned it out the box. Ryan Artson's caught a little bit sleeping. Has to go defensive. Luke Lucchesi immediately has Yuri Umpi-Swart pushing up on the side of him, trying to make his way through. And now it is going to be Troy Dolanchik looking to get on the inside of Yuri Umpi-Swart. Yuri's going to try and keep him at bay through the sweep. Wolfgang Weiss now got into the fray as we do see Yuri Umpi-Swart. What a tank slapper. He saves it. Yuri Umpi-Swart absolutely saves it. Comes back at Troy Dolanchik. Dolanchik gets moved out of the way by Mark Heron. And Dolanchik down the order as now Van Rensburg gets a go at him. So Van Rensburg launches by. Dolanchik trying to come back at him. Goes and does everything he can to stay within a shout. Alex Moore trying to get a little bit of a climb. But Yuri Umpi-Swart, my heavens, even though he got that tank slapper, absolutely held it beautifully. And what a run it was. Chillin try and take a look when it all happened. There's the tank slapper, cross arm, brings it back, still fighting the car onto the return. And my heavens, what a run to get that sorted out for Yuri Umpi-Swart. Getting it all tangled up. And now on the charge, Sean Stratham leading the pack. Ryan Otten's onto the back of him. Luke Lucchesi, who also got caught out on that start, is remembering the fight at hand as they make their way through. So Sean Stratham trying to get that little bit of a climb. Ryan Otten's immediately putting pressure on him. Logistical Nightmare Racing has literally been that, a logistical nightmare for the start. Once he saw that gap, he went for it. Absolutely tremendous stuff for our drivers as they launch their way by. And now it's going to be a monster fight on the way through as Ryan Ottens does get the pass over the likes of Sean Stratham. And it does look like Luke Lucchesi is going to have a shot at it. So change up for first place. Ryan Ottens into first. Sean Stratham going defensive for that inside line. Ryan Ottens now needs to get the getting up and go. He's got that pass. And it's now into a bit of a slipstream train. This is only going to hurt him though. Luke Lucchesi closing up. Going to do a little bit of bump draft. Try and push the likes of Sean Stratham along. Get him into the corner. Going to box him in now. Going down off the hill, and it's going to be a big set. He tries for it, couldn't get it done. Unfortunately, gets turned around. Wolfgang Weiss just swings past, and what a turn of events there as Dolanchik was stuck on the outside, went around the likes of Van Rensburg and gets his pass done and dusted. Dolanchik trying to get that climb back up, but Luke Lucchesi going to be hurting from the tyres as it's a bit crazy at the back. Werner Swart going defensive hard inside line to hold Cabela Matsumai. He's going to try for a bit of an undercut, goes for the slingshot, launches up on the inside. Can he carry the momentum through into the hairpin? Tries to put the nose forward, gets it done. Werner Swart tries to come back at him. Unfortunately, couldn't get that run up. Florian Keller and Dresser giving a good shot at one another as we do see Cabela Matsumai. Oh, hard into the wall. Werner Swart had him there, and unfortunately that is a monster impact for Cabello Matsamai. Cabello, unfortunately, a monster hit into the wall, and that is definitely not an ideal situation for him, having to tow the car back. Let's see if we can quickly take a look at what happened there. That's unfortunately well before everything went wrong. So this is what happened down the hill. Oh, tank slapper, little nudge, and that's all she took to just take the car hard into the wall. And unfortunately, massive impact. As we do see a big one, Luka Logovic in the background. Luka Logovic turned around, and it looked like quite a few drivers getting caught out there. Might have been Raymond Duggan as well. It was 4 wide situation. Oh, Raymond Duggan on the outside. Luka Logovic getting turned around. Oh, man, it just went all hair raising wrong. And Yanaman Price also getting caught into that one. Desperate attempts heading down into the corner. And that, unfortunately, was a monster impact on all of it. Willem Buerta onto the charge. Really putting his pressure onto the back of René Dresner to make her way through. But we're starting to see quite a few events happening out there. Raymond Duggan, Cameron de Bastos, Cabello Matsamai, Luka Logovic, all into the pits. Ryan Otten, Sean Stratham battling it out with Wolfgang Weiss, who is now on this climb. Sees Yuri Umpi-Swart and Dolan Schick behind him. So this is going to be a fight to get past Sean Stratham as quick as possible, knowing the competition behind him. We are currently seeing 3rd, 2nd, and 1st in the same shot, right behind Sean Stratham, as Wolfgang Weiss up on the inside, goes for the launch. Can he get it done? Does go for a huge send, gets it done, and beautiful pass on the way through. Now just gets it absolutely flat out on the way through. Ryan Ottens is going to be the next target up the road here, but Ryan has opened up a considerable gap at the stand. So great time out there for a couple of our drivers. Absolute chaos in other parts. And definitely a rough time, and it's pulling people from right across the globe, and even streamers going and saying, wow, what a race at the moment. As we do see Yanaman Price trying to bring the car along. He did get clipped by the chaos ahead, so he landed up a bit hurt. Paul Herber trying to limp his way through, along with Willem Buerta on a great charge onto the back of Werner Swart, and Florian Keller just a little bit up the road from them. So Keller's got to be very careful here. Swart is not hanging back. The Ultra Carbon Racing is now dealing with Willem Buerta of RDSA Esports, chasing him down, looking to try and get that done and dusted. It's going to be a hard fight to get it all sorted out. But let me remind you, we do have our mandatory pit stops. That's going to be a really tough race out there. So currently out on the grid, Ryan Ottens, Wolfgang Weiss, Sean Stratham, Yuri Swart, Troy Dolanchik, Jean Jans van Rensburg, Alex Moore, Mark Heron, Florian Keller, Werner Swart, Willem Buerta, Paul Herber, Yanaman Price, René Dresden, Luke Lucchesi, Raymond Duggan, Luka Logovic, Cameron de Bastos, Cabello Matsamai still in the pits, and unfortunately Greg Van Nico not able to get the car out once again. So he is out of the race. This is our running order from Heat 1 and now into Heat 2 here at Raceface.Pro for the iRacing GT3 series as Luke Lucchesi gets the pass done. He is quite happy with that one. Big send. He is on a bit of a recovery at the moment as he fights it out towards the top running order. A lot of our grandstands absolutely loving the chaos out here, loving the fun. And, well, we promised you a race that you would never suspect. Well, we're going to see that race. Now Wolfgang Weiss has got a problem. Sean Stratham's very close to him. And Yuri Umpi-Swart, Troy Dolanchik also staying within the fight. Remember, they still need to put Luke Lucchesi, René Dresner, Raymond Duggan, Luka Logovic, and Cameron de Bastos all have done their pit stops. Everyone else still needs to get it out and sorted. As we do see Van Rensburg keeping a hard defense against Florian Keller, Werner Swart of Ultra Carbon dealing with the RDSA Esports driver of Willem Buerta, who is putting up a tremendous effort at this point. For anyone that doesn't know, in terms of Van Rensburg, came over from the world of ACC, now has to deal with Florian Keller, who has done a phenomenal job for the NJB team, has been that Mr. Consistent, staying in the fight the entire way through, even in different championships. He's been that consistent fighter, keeps his teeth stuck in, and might not be as quick as his teammates ahead of him, but has kept an average lap time where it's worked out all season. Troy Dolanchik trying to get past this. We do see Uriumpi Swat kind of pulling his way through there. Gives a quick look on the inside. Sean Stratham is getting very defensive and being attacked on all sides between Uriumpi Swat and Dolanchik. So he's having to watch mirrors here. Dolanchik trying to get the pass done on Uriumpi Swat. Going to go side by side. They're going to get a little bit boxed in. Dolanchik does give a little bit of room though for Uriumpi to get that little bit more of a run. Tries to look for the inside, but it's getting a bit darker. Those headlights becoming a bit of a problem. The tail snapping out on the McLaren as they charge their way through. Really having to dig deep and focus on what they need to do to stay within a bit of a fight at the moment. It's going to be a proper run. Uriumpi Swat up on the inside, switches to the outside. Has he got the momentum though? Diving, he's going to have the advantage. Inside line, gets it all hooked in. Troy Dolanchik tries to follow suit. Over the dirt he goes. Couldn't get it sorted out. Sean Stratham was not going to allow that one to happen. And that allows Troy Dolanchik to stay in for the fight as they charge their way through. Uriumpi Swat lives to see another day and now has his eyes firmly set on Wolfgang Weiss, a little bit up the road from him. So Sean Stratham now knowing that he's got a little bit of an issue here. He was down on his last lap time. Troy Dolanchik into the 17s as his best lap time. His last lap time 20.7 as he was a little bit fouled up. Going and late braking into the dirt. But Sean Stratham putting up a brick wall of a defense. Absolutely well done as these two V10s scream down towards the tabletop. Hard on the brakes. The Audi R8 Evo GT3, Evo 2 GT3 is battling against the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo and having a tremendous time out there to try and keep it all together. Nose to tail they go, looks for the inside line, couldn't quite go for that. He's going to keep into the toe, down the hill they go, then going to go for a late lunge. Is he going to be able to do it? Sean Stratham trying to bottom it out, moves slightly over. Troy Dolanchik forcing his way through, says no thank you, you're not going to hold me up anymore. And Sean Stratham tries to have a good run at him over the crest of the hill. Is he close enough to make it work? Very, very close. If he can keep it all together, turn one is an option here. Dolanchik trying to defend the line. Sean Stratham going for it as he tries to put his nose in. Unfortunately, braking a little bit earlier and just not having the exit he would ideally want on the way through. Paul Gerber into the pits. Jan Price is going to try and make up a bit of time. He gets that pass done and dusted. So we're starting to see these battles go and flush out a little bit more. Van Rensburg dealing with the likes of Florian Killer onto the back of him. Killer hoping they could stay in for the fight. Willem Buerta, Werner Swart also having a bit of a grow at him at this point. But Florian Killer all the way out from Germany showing what the big Mercedes can do against the Italian stallion of the Ferrari of Jans van Rensburg, the oval racer, having to battle it out for Team Slowpokes at the moment. They're having a very, very difficult time out there. Not an easy race as it stands. Camilla Matsmai still in the pits. I think he's retired that car as we do see Luke Lucchesi on that climb. Now, this is one thing we did see happen the last heat. Heat 1 was a different set of fish to what it is now in terms of lighting conditions. But Luke Lucchesi went for an early pit stop, and take a look at Wolfgang Weiss. He's now into the pits. Wolfgang Weiss, 12 minutes done and dusted the race. He's decided to get that car into the pits and get that pit stop done and dusted, hoping for a bit of an undercut. He's going to have to watch very closely where he comes out, as we do see Florian Killer and likes of Van Rensburg fighting out. Florian not backing down from the fight, really trying to shove the nose in of that Mercedes. It does have a bit of oversteer to it if you can get it hooked in, but the problem is it does get a little bit loose. They have gone and improved the BOP for the Mercedes. I will have to admit, at one point it was just bottom of the boots for the car, not one to go for, much like the BMW at this stand for current BOP for Season 4 of iRacing for 2024. So, going to be an enjoyable one here. Good mid-tier has to be the likes of the Ferrari. A consistent car to keep you going. Does pick up a bit of inherent understeer. A little bit lazy on the throttle as it tries to pick up that little bit of grip, but it is consistent on its braking. So you can go for an inside line brake as Van Rensburg's going to try. Go wait for the second line, hard on the brakes, bring it in, second gear, Try and let that engine pull you through, up into third, over the crest of the hill, into fourth gear, run it down into fifth as we do see Keller into the pits, getting it lined up, keeping a hard right. And that is something many of our drivers are going to have to be well aware of as they make their way through. You want to keep a hard right to just get it into the pits, because as you come over the crest and your car naturally wants to understeer, it's going to become a very difficult situation. Wolfgang Weiss did come out ahead of Luke Lucchesi, but not by very far. Luke Lucchesi is 12 seconds behind, but that is closing at a rate of knots, so Wolfgang Weiss needs to really focus on the pressure here. Ryan Ottens, on the other hand, has been capitalizing on the fight of Jurien Pissoir and Troy Dolenchek to maintain a 2-second gap. His answer is going to have to be where he pits to Wolfgang Weiss. That is going to be his choice of how is he going to get that into the box. When is he going to get it hooked in and get himself sorted? Jurien Pissoir and Troy Dolenchek, they're going to be starting to work out each other, seeing exactly when exactly these two cars are going to get into the pits. Yes, they are friends, they do talk to one another, but they're not afraid to keep the cards close to their chest. Yes, you can be friends, but you don't want to tell all the secrets, especially when you're in a Monster Championship fight. Luke Lucchesi onto the back of Florian Keller, who runs out a bit wide. Keller's opening to just try and keep the momentum at the moment as Sean Stratham pulls into the pits. So Stratham trying to get his pit stop done and dusted will be dropping down the order. Luke Lucchesi wanting to make very quick work of Keller right ahead of him, who has actually done a fantastic job to usurp him. Puts him on lap 10. Luke Lucchesi with a bit of damage puts it on lap 4. So not having an easy time out there. Sean Stratham will be looking to try and get out of the pits ahead of Wolfgang Weiss, Florian Keller, and Luke Lucchesi, who's keeping a very consistent pace onto the back of the Mercedes. Not going on to aggressive overtakes right now, just waiting out that time to just pull himself along. So Sean Stratham now trying to get himself out of the pits, really getting on the power early, loses out to Wolfgang Weiss, but does come out ahead of this little fighting pack of Florian and Luke as it stands. So they've been on a proper little run at one another. Unfortunately, that has closed their little gap up. As we jump up a little bit further, Paul Gerber going and minding out of the way as Werner Swart all over the back of Willem Buerta dives up towards the inside line. It's going to have the outside and going to have the sweep into the braking zone. The Mustang getting a beautiful pass, and Willem Buerta trying to get that drive underneath him. Willem Buerta, a very, very talented driver that has done quite a lot in his life. He's been to the deserts, he's been to the top of the piles, he has fought it out with some of the best in the world in the toughest conditions. Is now fighting against Werner Swart, who has come from quite a unique background. Werner Swart has not only done a bit of two-wheeled action, he has gone even into the world of radio controlled, if I remember correctly. Had a bit of fun out there as we do see Paul Gerber trying to just lean on the guys to say, hey, listen, can I get round? Let's get into a fight. Now, this is usually a 3-fighting pack between one another, and it's now turned into Paul Gerber's a blue flag. So he's having to lift that little bit and keeping onto the back of Willem Buerta, who tries to go around the outside. Can he carry the momentum through? He's not going to have that inside line. Werner Swart stopping dead on the apex and gets defensive onto the straight. Very, very well done. Bit of a karting line to make it work there for a defensive line. Willem Buerta going and hugging down that inside. You can see trying to snap the toe already. Werner Swart hoping that Mustang has the legs, charging his way through. Gonna have to go very hard on the brakes here as Buerta gonna go and try and get the sweep. Gonna look for the undercut. Can he pull a Danny Rick at this moment? No, unfortunately not close enough. It did foul up the likes of Paul Gerber as Werner Swart pulls into the pits, and so does Willem Buerta, but I don't think Paul Gerber got the message as he nearly got swallowed up into that fight. Ryan Otten's into the pits. That releases Jurien Pissoir, Troy Dolenchek, and Van Rensburg to carry on the fight. Jarman Price, though, is continuing on his charge. He's going that little bit later as it stands, and not quite getting the lap times he wants. The Audi not being as complacent to his driving style as it stands, or maybe still stemming from a bit of damage from earlier on. Wolfgang Weiss, though, on a hard charge, gets round Ryan Ottens, who just came out of the pits, Ryan's going to have to apply some huge pressure to the back of this Porsche. But so far, Wolfgang Weiss is in a net first place. Remember, he's still, well, he's in a net, I'd say, looking at the times, he's in a net third. Because it takes roughly 22 seconds to get it in and out of the box. They have to get in, change tires, and go. That's about 22 seconds. Yuri Swart, though, going for the undercut on Troy Dolanchik. Never mind. Yes, Dolanchik's going to carry on the momentum here. He's going to go that little bit longer. So Yuri Swart hoping he can get that sorted out. Van Rensburg gets into the pits, trying to get us all sorted out. 18 minutes and 45 seconds of the race. And it does look like Janneman Price is going to stick out that little bit longer. But where is Wolfgang Weiss as he comes through? He's in through the last 3 corners and carrying on the power. Yuri Swart is the target here over the crest into the right hand, absolutely keeping it pinned. Ryan Otten's going to be following in suit. And if Yuri Swart doesn't get the hurry up and go, he's going to get caught out, gets off the pit limiter, and unfortunately loses out to both Wolfgang Weiss and Ryan Ottens. Gets past him. So Yuri Swart is now a little bit down the order and is into a fighting pack. Not ideal situation for him on cold tires, but he's going to have to get those tires to heat up quite quickly out here, as it is a bit of a chilly circuit as it stands. 21 degrees track temperature. Cold tires. Oh man, it's just going to be a very, very difficult fight. Troy Dolanchik comes into the pits, and let's see how that's going to work out for him. It's going to have to be a very, very quick run for as we do take a look at track position. Dolanchik into the pits. We are currently keeping an eye on the likes of Ryan Ottens, who is looking to try and close up that gap. Wolfgang Weiss will be doing everything he can as they make their way down the main straight, or the back straight, and it does look like Yuri Swart has closed up that gap a little bit quicker than planned. So Ryan Otten's going to be a little bit more defensive here, but where does Troy Dolanchik fall into this? He's still up on the jacks. The Janneman Price does come across. Wolfgang Weiss is going to come around. Is it going to be enough? Has he done enough? Wolfgang Weiss sees Troy Dolanchik getting going, but it's not enough. Weiss into first place. The Porsche now needs to hammer on. 10 minutes, or 9 minutes left of this race, and it is Wolfgang Weiss going to be up in first place with Ryan Ottens, Yuri Swart, and take a look. Troy Dolanchik onto the back of Yuri Swart. If these two fight it out, Ryan Ottens will try and survive yet another day, and unfortunately for Troy Dolanchik, he got completely undercut on this one and has to just go and scratch his head. What went on? What do I need to do to catch the cars ahead of me? Yuri Swart is now in frustration, clawing at the back of Ryan Ottens. He can't get that pass done at Dust as yet. Just not getting the drive out of the corners, trying to utilize the slipstream, and now having to go from worrying about a car ahead of him to seeing what is running behind him as they make their way through and jumping on board with the McLaren. You can see how he closes up onto the back of Ryan Ottens, but in that review mirror, that center screen, there is a very loud and proud Lamborghini having a good go at him, trying to chase him down and go on the hunt. So he has to be so careful for this. Wolfgang, who is out in first place, is going to be quite happy for this charge. He's going to really have to go for a big send if he wants to maintain his position. So Yuri Swart all over the back of Ryan Ottens. Ryan is not backing down from this fight. He is going to fight tooth and nail, and that is allowing Troy Dolanchik to get into the muscling situation. Wolfgang Weiss starting to lose a little bit of ground, though, to the likes of Ryan Ottens, and he is going to be brought into this fighting trio, which is not ideal circumstances. So the whole NJB is going to have to really get behind their driver, cheer him on, as we do see Ryan Ottens very defensive on the inside, held that apex like it was there for his life at that point. It did push Yuri Swart into the back and try and hold him back, with Troy Dolanchik having a go at him, charging down the hill. Who's going to be later on the brakes here? Ryan Ottens immediately middle of the circuit, switches round. Yuri Swart, big send on the inside, goes for a swing round, and Ryan Ottens gets it wrong. Ryan Ottens unfortunately spins out. Troy Dolanchik trying to go around the outside of Yuri Swart. Ryan Orton's had it all. Oh no! Dolanchik and Uriel Swat into the wall. Dolanchik, major damage, bouncing left to right. That has taken him clean out the race. Yellowman Price is in first place. He hasn't pitted it yet, but he is going to be happy as can be for that one. Wolfgang Weiss is going and making his way around. Sean Stratham is making his way through. But taking a look, Uriel Swat and Dolanchik have towed back to the pits. They have got too much damage. They will tow back to the pits to get themselves sorted. And I think that is it. Those two have unfortunately landed up with the biggest of impacts. Oh my heavens, what a crash! And it all stemmed going with the excitement of Ryan Ottens with his spin. Let's relive that moment right now as we see Ryan Ottens avoid Uriel Swat with that massive send. He snaps the rear end. Unfortunately, that causes him to spin. That was the turning event for it. Troy Dolanchik then tried to make his way through around the outside, puts the wheel right across, and Uriel Swat with that understeer bounces around, heavy impact, and that is that. Unfortunately, that is that for a lot of them. But what has transpired right now is Yellowman Price is going to fall down a position when he pits Wolfgang Weiss, Ryan Ottens, and Sean Stratham, who's on the back of Ryan Ottens. Sean Stratham is going for second place. He is all over the back of Ryan Ottens. If there's any radio communication, don't talk to Sean Stratham right now, because he is pushing onto the back of Ryan Ottens, not knowing what exactly has transpired. He's going to have to keep in for it. Luke Lucchese, who will have both drivers having a go at him, the likes of Uriel Swat and the likes of Troy Dolanchik going off, they are sitting in the very same Discord as Luke Lucchese. They are on radio communications and would have been told, well, we're unfortunately landed with both of us getting into the wall. And that is that. Troy Dolanchik gets out of the pits. Uriel Swat is still in the pit lane. Yellowman Price still circulating, enjoying that first place at the moment, but he's going to have to pull into the pits. There he goes, and getting it sorted out. Wolfgang Weiss will be taking that first place away from him. Ryan Ottens, who is on the defense with Sean Stratham, pushing on, traveling, going and really hunting down that position. Mark Heron running in fourth place. Van Rensburg in fifth. Van Rensburg in sixth. Luke Casey in seventh. Florian Killer, Renaud Dresser, Alex Moore, Willem Buerta, Werner Swart, Raymond Duggan, Paul Herber, Troy Dolanchik trying to make the climb as Paul Herber bouncing over the curbs, trying to defend his position, and Dolanchik making quick work of him. Luka Lagovic and Cameron de Bastos running with Cabello Matsamai and Uriel Swat not able to get out on the pits. So this is going to be a bit of a wild run for them. Luke Lucchese, hoping to score valuable points for the championship, is chasing down Van Rensburg, applying a huge amount of pressure to the back of Van Rensburg to just get him to lift, to try and battle it out. But my heavens, my word, I did not expect that. And that has completely turned the race on its head. And I know that the entire grandstand fell dead silent next to me as all the drivers are busy trying to work out what exactly just happened for that race. What just transpired as Luke Lucchese trying to make that little bit of climb, hoping that he can keep up the drive, really doing everything he can. Looks for the inside. Van Rensburg holding that defensive middle line. Will compromise his entrance and exit out of the corner as we do see him bounce over the grass. Tries to cut across the nose of Luke Lucchese. Is just going to keep putting that pressure on. He knows that the tyres need to be scrubbed in. And right behind them, take a look, the Mercedes of Florian Keller now gotten a lot closer. So Keller has an opportunity here to get into the fight. And that has now turned 5th, 6th, and 7th into a bit of a trio. They're going to have to fight it out. Our closest running positions at the moment. Van Rensburg leading out the little plaque. Luke Lucchese and Florian Killer now staying in for the fight. Time ticks away though, and these drivers are going to have to dig deep and figure out what they need to do to get it done and dusted, as our drivers hoping to get that little bit more up through the order. Luke Lucchese taking a look ahead of him and saying, hold on, we got a bit of a running here. as Yanaman Price and Cameron Bastos are trying to keep up their bit of momentum. That's one of the THTs. That is the Audi of Cameron Bastos by the looks of it. As we got Luke Lucchese all over the back of Van Rensburg. Looks to the inside, switches to the outside, getting booked off every which way possible. And just can't get that drive to work out for him. That was Mark Heron that actually got past. That looks to be, might have been Cameron Bastos. Was it Cameron Bastos? Yes, it was. So Cameron Bastos going and keeping Mark Heron at bay. And that unfortunately did cost Heron a bit of time. So Mark's going to have to really step it up as he sees Luke Lucchese from Rensburg and Klenner going after him. So Florent's going to have to also get into this train, but knowing that they've now closed up literally about a 1 second gap to Mark at the moment, they're going to have to really focus on the charge here. Sean Stratham though, Sean Stratham's gone. Sean Stratham has disappeared. What on earth has happened to Sean Stratham? So let's try and take a look. Here's Sean Stratham. Oh no! Into the wall! Sean Stratham into the wall and towed back to pits. That has changed up the entire race. Wolfgang Weiss, Ryan Ottens and Mark Heron are now running first, second and third. One critical mistake from Sean Stratham has just spun him round into the wall. He dropped a wheel a little too far. The Audi kicked out, and that was all she wrote for Sean Stratham, who had third place on the cards. All he needed to do was just keep it together. Oh my heavens, that has changed it all. Once again, we are looking at a massive turn of events as Van Rensburg tries to defend against Luke Lucchese and clearing onto the back of him. Mark Heron, who's just slightly up the road, 1 lap to go, is going to fight it out to do everything he can to stay within the shout here. As we do take a look back up to the sharp end, Wolfgang Weiss in clear air, Ryan Ottens running in second, Mark Heron keeping an eye. He's got Cameron Bastos hoping to be that brick wall at the moment as they charge their way through. This is going to be a monumental effort, but coming up to the line to take Heat 2's victory for the Raceface.Pro Iracing GT3 Sprint Series Pro Division, Wolfgang Weiss finally getting that elusive first place. Ryan Ottens will be taking second place after a monumental effort on his part. Mark Heron promoted up into third place. Is going to be absolutely ecstatic for the asymmetric racing team. Van Rensburg holds back Luke Lucchese, and Florent Kellett gave it everything he had right to the line, finishes in 6th. René Dresner comes across the line in 7th position. Alex Moore comes across the line in 8th. Willem Buerta will be taking 9th with Werner Swart hot on the heels as they charge their way through. Yanaman Price will come across in 11th position, just out of that top 10. A little bit of a late gamble, but gained a few positions. Raymond Duggan in 12th place. Troy Dolanchik, after everything, will come across the line 13th position. He tried his utmost best to bring it all back. Paul Herber will take 14th and 15th. Luka Logovic, followed by Cameron Bastos, Sean Stratham, who towed back to pits, Urian Piswat towed back to pits, and Cabello Matsamai towing back to pits. Wow, oh wow, folks. What a race. My heavens, what a race. I'm blown away. I don't know what to say. That was a race and a half that changed from start to finish. Wow, wow, wow. I don't quite know what to say about the events that we saw this evening. Heat 1 and Heat 2 really put on a performance. So Heat 1, Troy Dolanchik got the win. But come Heat 2, totally different story. Wolfgang Weiss, Ryan Ottens, Mark Heron, Jean Jans van Rensburg, Luc de Kezi, Florian Keller, René Dresner, along with Alex Moore, Willem Buerter, Werner Swart, Janneman Price, Raymond Duggan, Troy Dolanchek, Paul Gerber, Sean Stradham, Luka Logovic, Cameron Abastos, Yuri Umpi Swart, a little bit further down the order. Well, as we wait for our drivers to come through and have a chat to us in the commentary, we're going to keep an eye on that and see everyone come and enjoy all the action, get to relive some of the excitement we've had in between races. But a big play for the championship now as everything gets smacked wide open for the running order. And who's going to be able to take the championship as it goes through. Great start from Sean Stradham, though, on his run to break away from the field. Unfortunately, not to be the easiest run for him. Wolfgang Weisso had a phenomenal run on the way through. Got a massive, massive climb to bring himself back into fighting contention. So as we're just waiting to have the guys to come up and have a chat to us, I think we may have our top three of coming through. Wolfgang Weiss, I'm hoping to have a chat to him. Ryan Otten's hoping to have a chat to him. He's had a great run. Unfortunately, Sean Stradham was going to be here, but after critical mistakes, that threw him down the order. So first of the turn events, witnessing on screen, Yuri Umpi Swart catching cross arm. Wolfgang Weiss immediately capitalizing, puts his nose in, has a sliding Yuri Umpi Swart coming out, and Mark Heron tried to also take a look and get the run through. It looks like our driver's still busy in Park Ferme after a very, very interesting run in tonight's race. And we actually do have a driver coming through, and that is going to be Mark Heron, who actually scored third place for the SMS Racing team. Mark Heron, welcome to the commentary box. Glad to have you here, Mark. And wow, what a race. Start to finish, been an interesting one. Take us through Heat 1. Let's start there. Let's start at the beginning. Heat 1, difficult time out there. Not the easiest run for you. Take us through the race.
Yeah, it was intense from start to finish. Just trying to keep it on track was all I could really muster up. I didn't really know where I'd finished. Even in the second race, I didn't know where I'd finished until I checked the results. Which is probably a good thing, because if I knew I was in third, I definitely would have ended up in the wall.
Well, I can tell you the support coming your way. Guys are extremely happy with the results. But, I mean, take us through when you came across the line, because 1 minute you were fighting for fifth, then you were fighting for fourth, and then all of a sudden, bang, you're third place, and a finished place, you finished, you come across the line. All season you've been fighting to get to the top, and now finally you're getting that taste of the cherry.
Yeah. The first two races were pretty bad for me because I'm not very good at the oval road courses. Just never ticked with me at all. So getting back to the regular race course has been great. But yeah, just keep trying to get closer and closer. Always not quite there, but today was obviously things went my way because a couple of people decided to part the seas for me in the last couple of laps, but yeah, I had to be there to be in it. So,
absolutely, and you had a monstrous fight behind you. Take us through that, because that looked like you had to hang on for a little bit.
Yeah. The first race, I started to lose grip the last couple of laps, and I could see. I think it was I can't remember who's finished behind me, but getting closer and closer, and it was the same in the second race. I seen the times getting closer and closer. I just had to stop looking at my relative, but I could see the fight in the mirrors. Luckily for me, when I came out of the pits, there was a big fight that gave me a little bit of a buffer as well behind me. It was pretty close when I came out of the pits, but after about a couple of laps, there was a good 3-second gap, which gave me that buffer.
Well, let's also talk about trying to get past a back marker that brought you closer to the fight. Were you utilizing a bit of a slipstream there, or was it getting a little bit on the frustrating side?
There were some choice words. I can't lie about that because I was just wanting to get past. I wasn't trying to use the slipstream at all. it was affecting the balance of my car, I felt. So just getting past was the main thing, just so that I didn't have a car straight in front of me. It just more chances for me to make mistakes.
Fair enough.
The benefits of having the slipstream definitely don't outweigh the disadvantages of not being able to see going up the hill.
Fair enough. And now, finally, Asymmetric Racing Team getting onto that podium, and honestly, a lot of support coming in for you, not only because of the team, your drive, but also for Niall, because you're saying, well, it's Scotland, you got to always support the Scottish. But for the team, this is quite a win for you guys.
Yeah. I had Noor on the radio helping me out, keeping me calm, so thank you to him as well.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Well, for the Asymmetric Racing Team, you got that third place in Heat 2. You had a stellar effort. And, well, for the first time ever, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have the Scotsman going and having the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, give a huge round of applause. Mark Heron, the floor is yours to address our amazing partners, our amazing petrol heads out there that have been cheering on start to finish. You're allowed to add a little bit of spice saying, I'm going to get you guys, or something like that. That's more than fine. But yeah, keep it PG. We do have the kids watching.
Oh, no, it's all good. Yeah, just thanks to everyone for watching, and all the supporters of the race as well. Since I joined the first season last, it's been great every week. And thanks to you guys as well, putting on a great show. I always make sure to watch back the commentary afterwards, because it is a real good show you put on. So thanks very much to everyone.
I think you're going to be a bit nervous when you see what happened, but Mark Aaron, thank you so much for having a bit of time to come and chat to us in the commentary box. You're always welcome to come back, and congratulations on your podium position in Heat 2 of our Raceface.Pro Iracing.
Thank you.
Wow, absolutely great stuff. Finally get to hear from Mark Aaron after talking about him for so long, and lots and lots of support. As you heard, Noah Hendricks in the ears, giving him a bit of a shout out there. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, unfortunately, that does bring us to the end of tonight as we say goodbye to Road Atlanta after the Petit Le Mans this weekend, where the drivers got to have a bit of fun there. And now the Raceface.Pro Iracing GT3 race around 4. We say goodbye to Road Atlanta. Thank you very much for joining us here this evening. But we will have our Pro-Am going out during the course of the week. Don't go and miss out. That's going to be an incredible one to watch. But also, coming up this week, tomorrow night, 8, we're going to have the Raceface.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series. 45 minutes of racing out on the Sette Corsa Competizione. Some of the fastest drivers in the world going and duking it out for the top spot. And as it all winds up with the curtains ready to move to tell us what exactly the prize is going to be for our sprint series, considering last season was 100,000 Rand. Eee. Now we're going to have to keep an eye. Thursday night, 8, we're going to have 2 streams coming out to you for our Pro and our Pro-Am division of the Raceface.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship on the Sette Corsa Competizione. Our Pro division containing some of the fastest drivers in the world. A couple of names that you would know. That's Jordan Sherritt being one of them, who unfortunately didn't work out. Tariq Adam got him at the end due to a disconnect, but stuck it in for the fight. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be a wild one. Definitely want to keep an eye out. And there is rumor that Cody Sherritt might be going and joining in as well. Don't quote me on that one. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for joining us. Follow us out on social media. Feel free to join us here at Raceface.Pro. And this weekend, we have got the Bathurst 12-hour endurance race out on the Sette Corsa Competizione. Entries are still open to go and get yourself in and join up with a team member. You're welcome. Let's put on the big show of 12 hours of racing this Saturday, starting at 1 o'clock, live stream coming out to you guys until 1 o'clock Sunday morning. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for joining us. And right here at the THT Productions, my name is Stephen Koenig, and like always, a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, everybody. With all the amazing racing that comes to you weekly, we have to give acknowledgement to our sponsors. Without them, this would not be possible here at Raceface.Pro. So starting off with our first sponsor, let's go and take your hats off to PokerBet. For all the tournaments, for all the cash games, daily free rolls, and sports betting, there's no better place to be and win with PokerBet. With it all revved up and you're looking for high speed, whether you're into drag, drift, or even long circuit, Red Star Raceway has got you covered. As we take a look off to all our machinery needs, head over to Oddendorf Machinery Mart. Remember to keep it slick with SA Lube, 20 years of Castrol distribution. Sliding in to keep you on your toes, Scallywags Drift Academy will keep you right at the top of the pack. And if you're looking for all your streaming needs, head over to Tenvo Tech for all the overlays. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been an honor having you. We'll see you next time right here from the THT